is a presentation of KSL Sports. Hello, Cougar Nation.
Who's open for three. Angle left takes it and makes it. Fousseyni Traore. And listen to the Cougar Nation.
Every Monday night, we break down the last week of BYU basketball and look ahead to the Cougars' prospects for the postseason. Cougar Nation. Here's BYU insider Mitch Harper and Matt Baiamonte on Utah's legacy home of the Cougars. KSL News Radio.
Good to have you on board, Cougar Nation. Mitch is back from Disneyland. I was here all along. And the Cougars are back with a W against the Texas Longhorns. We're taking your calls all hour long. 801-575-8255. We want your reaction to that win against Texas and also the controversy from the game. Students wearing horns down T-shirts. Was that classless by the BYU fans in the Rock? We want you to chime in on all those things. Good to have you back, Mitch.
It is good to be back, and it's good to actually feel like we are officially Big 12 radio host and reporters because we're now dealing with a horns down drama. We're truly entrenched in the Big 12 now. But BYU, of course, is entrenched in this Big 12 race. 84-72, they take down the Texas Longhorns, and let's get into our takeaways.
Cougar Nation takeaways. Mitch and Matt analyze BYU's last week of play and what it means for the next week.
Get those phone lines loaded up, 801-575-8255. We will get to your takeaways because, of course, every Monday night, Cougar Nation, it's your show, Cougar Nation. So get those phone lines loaded up, and we'll get to some of your takeaways on this and also your thoughts on his horns down classes. But our takeaways, takeaway number one, BYU won a ball game, Matt, without firing off 30-plus threes, and that might sound normal for most college basketball teams, but for BYU, that's definitely a different look.
Only 17 threes taken. They make 41% of those, but the big storyline of the game was points in the paint, where they outscored Texas by 14. They out-rebound the Longhorns by 8. When this team, Mitch, is committed to the glass, they can beat about anybody in college basketball. I believe that. In losses against Houston and Baylor and even Utah, it hasn't always been pretty on the glass, but that was an emphasis for this Cougar team. And I'll tell you what, one of my takeaways, which ties into all this, having Fousseyni Traore back, playing like himself. Remember, he suffered that injury down in Vegas in November. He's only been back for a couple weeks, and he just hasn't looked himself. But in this Texas game, you saw a real physical presence from Foose, the big dog. He had 6 rebounds, 16 points. Here's what Coach Pope had to say about the big fella inside.
I thought he had a huge impact on the game. I thought he was really good. He came up with a huge block on ace miss, kind of in that stretch where we're just trying to make sure things were secure, and it was certainly a force inside.
That stretch where he had the block, and then Richie hits the 3. The Marriott Center was electric. But the key to this team, Mitch, is, hey, we know you're a good three-point shooting team. You got to do other things, and they showed us that against Texas.
It was, I thought, an impressive performance from BYU to take down a Texas team that had their full collection of personnel. You know, Texas has dealt with a lot of injuries this season, like BYU, but they brought all those guys together, and they were on a 2-game winning streak, and they came in and were not fazed by the Marriott Center sold-out crowd. They jumped on BYU quick, but BYU was resilient, and the fact that they attacked the basket, it was refreshing to see. And to me, it opened my eyes that, maybe this BYU team can have a little bit of inside and out, and I think that ties into takeaway number 2, that Foose, that low post, was a huge difference because now it's pick your poison when you defend BYU. Okay, you want to defend that three-point line? Great. Well, now there's a legit post threat in Foose being back and fully healthy.
The final takeaway for us, amongst many, then we'll get to your calls, is BYU a strong second half. That's been a weak point for the Cougars in Big 12 conference play. They've led at the half in every game but one, and that was the Houston game. And they had a chance to be leading at the half, and then it kind of slipped away there in the final moments. So a strong second half was critical, and Coach Pope agreed.
The most important stat for us as a team is the 41 points in the first half and the 31 in the second half. We've been a plus double-figure team in conference, giving up more points in the second half. And I was really proud of these guys because every single media timeout in the second half, that's all they wanted to talk about was what they were going to do on the defensive end, that they were going to win this game on the defensive end of the floor. I thought they made an unbelievable effort to do it. And that's going to be really important for us moving forward to see if we can replicate that and it's coming from the guys, which is pretty powerful.
Through the first 20 games of the season, BYU's now 15-5 overall, 3-4 in Big 12 play. I just felt like that was a big win to take down Texas, Matt, because not only is it the brand of Texas, I get that, first time you're hosting them in Provo in 50 years. It's the only Big 12 regular season matchup between the two programs. But it was just big because the next two are on the road, and it just felt like you got to get this one to end your losing streak, because if you would have lost that one, it could have been a little bit of a tailspin where it suddenly becomes a 5-game skid, and you're wondering, oh, is BYU going to fall out of bracketology? That was a big win, and to do it decisively, it just shows this BYU team is very good, Matt, and I think people need to recognize that this is a team that belongs in this Big 12. They look the part of a Big 12 team. They belong.
And although Texas wasn't ranked, they had just come off wins against Baylor and Oklahoma. So they were playing some of their best basketball. Let's get out to the phone line, Mitch. We love having Linda on. Linda, what's your reaction to the win over Texas?
Oh, it was wonderful. I'm really glad we finally won again. It was so good to win again. And I thought it was so neat that Noah scored all those points, 17 points. I thought it was wonderful. And I thought that all the other players were wonderful too, like Philippa and Robinson and all those guys.
Great.
So I was really happy with it.
Yeah, no doubt, Linda. And Linda's been on the Noah Waterman train for weeks now, and he played great, Mitch.
He did, 17 points. It feels like when Noah Waterman plays well, BYU is almost unbeatable. In the last 3 games that Noah has played, he scored at least 17 points in each of those games. You know, there was those moments against Utah, against Cincinnati, where he's putting up 0 points, and you're like, is it just he's good against the Denvers of the world, against the Bellarmins of the world? When is it going to happen against Big 12 competition? Well, he's doing it now, and I think that confidence is growing. I feel like this entire BYU team, the confidence of this group continues to show. They've been a resilient bunch. I mean, there's been a lot of personnel in and out, yet they continue to get off the mat and continue to respond. And in no game have they been dominated. You know, there's been some times where, you know, Iowa State's the trendy pick in college basketball this week after their big win over Kansas. BYU crushed that team. BYU hasn't experienced a game like that where they just get crushed. And I think that's a testament to how resilient this group is. Let's get it back out to the phones. Todd from West Valley. Todd, you want to weigh in on the horns down?
Yeah, I think it's kind of amazing that they're going to go to the SEC. If that just, I mean, BYU, they're the students. That's what students do. Horns down. They've never seen the Holy War rivalry in some of the shirts you see around there. I think the way the rest of the season should go when the mighty Texas Longhorns go to play somewhere is that the facility on their away games needs to turn the air conditioner on the lowest setting in the visitors' locker room so that the snowflakes don't melt when they see horns down.
Thanks for the call, Todd. I'm with you. I mean, I was surprised that it was even a thing for BYU to take down those shirts from the students. We'll get to that here momentarily. Again, if you missed the story, BYU students in the front row of the student section in the Rock, they spelled out horns down on their T-shirts.
Front row, closest to the Texas bench.
And BYU officials, by the first media timeout, asked those students to remove those shirts. It's become kind of a national story around college basketball, and you wonder, why is it a story? Like, why is horns down so scandalous? Let's get to that and more of your phone calls. Was horns down classless? Let's discuss it. 801-575-8255. It's Cougar Nation here on the legacy home of the Cougars, KSL News Radio.